Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to today's video where we will be talking about colloids. Colloids is a section of surface chemistry which is very important for our engineering exams. And in many universities, you in the first or second semester, you could have this uh, topic. So what I'll try to do is give you a basic idea about everything that is related to colloid. After that, I believe you'd be able to understand it at the basic level what colloids means. To start with, we are going to be talking about solution. You see, I have given a solution here, which is a NaCl solution, which is obviously the salt solution that we know. And the mixture of a salt solution is homogeneous, and any homogeneous mixture is known as true solution. It is the actual definition of a solution, where the particle size usually varies from zero point 0.1 nanometer to 1 nanometer. So this is the first type of mixture that we can get, and in the third type, we're gonna come to the second a little bit later. We've got suspension is a heterogeneous solution. The difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous is that in a homogeneous solution, if we consider this to be the solvent, which we generally consider water, we would just the particle would be uniformly spread. It would have the same concentration everywhere in the solution. But when we take a heterogeneous solution, the particle might be dense here, it could be very light here, it could be much denser. It would not have a uniform mixture. I hope you understand what that means. That is the difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous solution. So what do we see here? The third type, it is a suspension solution, where it is a heterogeneous solution, and in a suspension solution, it literally have the largest sized particles, which is probably above 10 to the power 3 nanometer. And in between suspension and true solution, we have a solution or a mixture which is known as colloids. Colloids generally have particles which ranges from 1 nanometer to 10 cube nanometer. And if you take an example, it would be starch in water, and it is also a heterogeneous solution, which means that the mixture is not uniformly spread. So here is the three types of solution that we have here. Mixture kind one is true solution, the second is colloidal solution, and the third is suspension solution. And we also have examples here. If we put the water salt mixture is a true solution, and the starch in water is a colloidal solution, and sand stirred in water is a suspension solution. If we go a little deeper into the colloidal solution, which is our today's topic, we see that colloidal solution are literally divided into two parts. It has two parts. In a true solution, TS, which means true solution, we got solute and solvent. In a colloidal solution, we've got two parts. One of them is dispersed phase, and the second is dispersed medium. And the irony is that dispersed medium is more like solvent in true solution, and dispersed phase is more like solute in true solution. So I hope you understand. These particles that you see are from. Sorry, the video was cut due to a problem, and we get started here again. And obviously, so we were discussing colloidal solution, and in colloidal solution, I've told you before, the particle size, if I put a different color to that, is 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, and dispersions represent an intermediate mixture between true solution and suspension. So this is literally the definition for colloidal solution, which is an intermediate mixture between true solution and suspension solution. Literally, you can see the difference in size. The true solution, there's no space. If we'll make a little bit of space here, it would be easier for me to write. You can see the true solution and the colloidal solution and suspension solution. The size is 0.1 to 1 nanometer, then 1 to 10,000 nanometer, and this is above 10,000. You can see that the colloidal solution is somewhere an intermediate mixture between suspension solution and true solution. So this was literally a basic idea about what a colloidal solution is. After that, what we can see is that I've given a definition here. A substance is said to be in the colloidal state if it acquires a particle size ranging between 1 nanometer to 10 to the power 3 nanometer on treatment with a solvent. And I've said everything, that this dispersion medium is more like solvent, and this dispersed phase is more like solute in a true solution. So this was the part describing the colloidal solution. And if I give you a chart about what resides in colloidal dispersion, is that I've told you before, it is divided into two phases. One is dispersed phase, another one is dispersion medium. And I say you again that this is more like solvent and this is like solute. If I visualize that, it would be like, if this is like a pot and we try to take some solvent, in terms of colloidal solution, we say that it is dispersion medium. And if you put some particle here, we should be ranging from 1 nanometer to 10 to the power 3 nanometer. It would be called dispersed phase. And this is how you can visualize a colloidal solution, and it is discontinuous. As you can see, it is not a continuous part of the solution, and the dispersion medium is a continuous part of the solution. And there's a chart of the differences between true solution, colloidal dispersion, and suspension. True solution is homogeneous, and the rest of the solutions are heterogeneous, both of them. The particle are ions or molecules in a true solution. We have seen in terms of the salt water solution where the salt is like ionized like that in the water. And in terms of colloidal solution, it is more like the macromolecules or the aggregates of molecules. And in suspension, it is the aggregates of molecules. Aggregates of molecules means breaking down the molecules. And I've also talked about the size before, so I think this page is covered. Then in true solution, the particles do not settle, and what the particle not settling means is that it does not create any precipitate. It does not create any precipitate as well, but it creates precipitate definitely, because the suspension solution, if I give you an example, if I visualize that, if you take that solution, you'd see that if you take 3 pots and this is the solvent part, in the first 2 times you'll see that these particles are uniformly mixed throughout the solution, and in this case it is also the same case, because both of the particle size are medium ranged. This is small, and this is medium ranged, which varies from 1 nanometer to 10 to the power 3 nanometer. And in terms of suspension, what you find out that the suspension solution have huge sized particle. As I've said before, it could be more than 10 to the power 3 nanometer, and so on. So what you can see is that we sometimes get precipitate in the solution rather than being found the whole mixture like that. So this is what it meant by that. And the fifth point is that the particles readily passes to parchment. Parchment is a semi-permeable membrane where the solvent can pass through, but it basically does not let the particles to pass through. It only lets the solvent to pass through. But in true solution, due to having small sized particle, it can pass. It passes, but slowly, because the size gets bigger in colloidal solution. And in suspension solution, it totally do not pass. It blocks the whole solution because the particle size, as I've said before, are huge. And in the true solution, the particles are invisible even under powerful microscope. In these terms, the particle are invisible under microscope. I think sometimes you can see the particle under powerful, very powerful microscope, but generally under general microscope it is invisible, and the particles are visible under microscope, or sometimes you can see with naked eyes in suspension solution. It's also because due to the size, as I've said before, the size of suspension solution is the largest here. And there's an important note here which I have given, which says that gas molecules among themselves cannot form a colloidal solution due to the property of diffusion to give homogeneous mixture. I hope you understood what it said. What diffusion means is that if we take a pot like that and if you put gas molecules inside, it will diffuse, it will spread like that, come out like that. So what happens is that it could not give, by spreading out, what it does is that from high pressure it goes to low pressure, which literally balances out between them and results in a homogeneous mixture where everything is balanced out. But we have seen that colloidal solution are heterogeneous, and in terms of heterogeneous mixture, you cannot get that mixture from a gas because it literally creates homogeneous mixture due to having the property of diffusion. So this was it for today. Today we have discussed the different kind of solution, different kind of mixture, and what colloidal solution really means. So I'd hope that you've got a good idea about what a colloidal solution mean, and you can explain to somebody what a colloidal solution could mean. So that's it for today. I'll be keep giving videos about these topics. So see you in the next video.